Hey everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. I'm excited to be here with you guys today to talk about some really big astrology this weekend. We're going to do an all sign today because of this astrology. And I would say this astrology may be some of the biggest astrology of the year. So I know there's a lot of people that are using these kinds of tactics online to say, the rarest, the biggest, and they just slap it onto any transit. But this is actually, in my opinion, very significant, and it's really an end of an era, a beginning of something new, and I'm going to walk you guys through it. So I chose this deck to read with today, the Bohemian Gothic Tarot, because this is the last weekend before the Halloween. So this reading is as close as we're going to get to Halloween. So you can take this as your Halloween reading. But the energy of the astrology here, I don't think is very Halloween oriented at all. I think it has a much different energy about it. And I think you're going to like it good. You're going to like it a lot. I think that the energy here is hopefully positive, but it's a big energy. So with that energy comes, the highs and the lows. So I'll try to be objective in telling you what that energy is about. I've started posting short videos on my platform, and I hear they're hard to find. So I put them on the homepage if you guys want to go check them out. They're just little blurbs. Sometimes I feel like I'm jamming information into these sessions so that I cover everything that's relevant, but some things can be explained in a few minutes and some things can be very direct. So go and check those out. They're like a couple minutes long and they tell you what's going on. And for those of you who really like to follow astrology as I do, it's just an extra little bit of information here and there. Okay. If you guys in those videos, if you want me to clarify, if it says all sign, go into the comments and tell me your sign and I will give you information. It's likely if it says all sign in the title of the short videos, I have already, prepared the message for every single sign. You guys just have to ask for it. So, okay, so this is the biggest energy of the year. So sit tight and it's exciting. It's not necessarily shown in the chart too easily. So I removed some of the transits so we can see it together. So this energy is building from now until October 28th, which is Monday. The culmination is on October 28th. And I wish that October 28th was a Sunday or a Saturday, because I think that this is an energy that we all would benefit from just enjoying and not having to be at work or other places. So this is a very rare aspect pattern. So aspect patterns are when certain transits form angles to each other. And sometimes when certain planets align, there are a series of aspect patterns that form from that alignment. The grand trine, triangles in math and in science are always considered very important, historically also. One of the reasons why a triangle has such power is that it is the basis of a lot of other geometry. Okay, so when we have several triangles that are happening together, this creates more complex aspect patterns, and this is what we have going on now. So what we're experiencing is a double grand trine, which means a grand trine in two different elements. And because they are in harmonious elements of earth and water, and almost at the same degrees, we have an extremely rare Star of David that has formed over us. It's up there now, and it will, I would say, perfect or come into full expression on October 28th. So let me know if you have a Star of David in your chart. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what transits you have. It's really rare. The reason it's rare is because different planets travel around the zodiac at different speeds, right? They're at different distances from the sun, so they have different speeds and different orbits. And so it's very rare that we have certain planets align a certain way. And so when they do, it's very special. So the foundation of this is the alignment between Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And we've talked about this a lot. This is a minor grand trine sextile, a trine between Pluto and Uranus, and a sextile from both planets to Neptune. We've talked about this. From this foundation, a lot of different aspect patterns can also build and express themselves, because this is a strange alignment. It's a rare alignment. The reason it's rare is that these are the outer planets, right? We have Pluto, the furthest, Neptune, and Uranus. They're the furthest. So for them to align this way is rare. It takes hundreds, if not thousands of years. You can find examples in other elements, but the way that they're aligned right now and the fact that they're changing signs at the same time, I don't think it's been seen during modern humanity. And when I say modern humanity, I'm saying since we've had written language, okay? So since we've had actual documentation. So prehistory is when maybe someone can find a similar aspect, but this is very rare. And from this foundation, everything else is building, and that's what everybody's talking about, okay? But this weekend and on to Monday, there's an extension of that energy as Mars is in Cancer in the last degrees. Mercury approaches the end of Scorpio, and Mercury will literally transit the last 10 degrees of Scorpio within a few days. So Mercury is at this position really far. It's approaching its maximum elongation. That's the maximum distance that it gets from the sun. So it's really pushing forward quickly. So even though it's at 20 degrees now, tomorrow it will be like 21 degrees or 22 degrees. It's going to go fast. So Mercury's moving quickly into aspect to the other planets. And then on top of that, we have our fastest transit, the moon approaching the 29th degree of Virgo. And we'll explain all that in a minute. But if you've been watching me for a while, I've been telling you there's a very special aspect pattern called a kite that the moon will perfect on October 28th. But it's not just the moon perfecting the kite that is so important right now. There is a lot of interplay between all of these transits happening. And I've sort of summarized it into 4 different things. I'm not trying to avoid talking about mystic rectangles. I made a short video about that. It's just to focus our conversation onto the main gist of what's happening. So the first thing I really want to highlight is a trine between Mars and Neptune. This begins on, I have such a weird note about this. I left a weird note for myself. This begins now. And so this is when Mars applies a trine to Neptune. Neptune in Pisces has been in Pisces for a long time. It's the ruler of Pisces, and it governs I was using the term zeitgeist, but the whole world at large. The whole social world is governed by Neptune. And so Mars is a personal planet, and its relationship to Neptune is one of an emotional nature now, since Mars is in Cancer and Neptune is in Pisces. And it's that emotional understanding of where you stand in the world vis-a-vis everyone else, including you. So this is you, Mars in Cancer, and then Neptune represents all of us together, including you. To add to that, this forms a grand water trine, and we've already talked about this with Mercury, and Mercury is also a personal planet. And so we are getting this massive insight into where we stand in the context of everything else. It's letting us know where we stand vis-a-vis the world. And so Mars in a trine to Neptune is going to give you an understanding of who you are and which direction you want to take. So you consider the world at large, and you have these deep realizations and experiences that tell you who you are in the world. And that Mars in Cancer is telling you sort of which way to go. So this trine is the first of 3 trines between Mars and Neptune that will continue happening until next year. This is because Mars is going retrograde. And so this first trine is the trine pattern between Mars and Neptune is connected to the transit of Neptune into Aries, because Neptune is also transitioning into Aries from Pisces next year. So it's a long transit, and these trines are going to happen over the next few months. I think that the last trine will be in May or June of next year, and that last trine in that series of 3 consecutive trines between Mars and Neptune, that last trine will happen in Aries. So even though we're talking about a trine from Mars to Neptune in Pisces, which is happening now, we're going to have 2 more trine. This and the next trine will be in Pisces, and finally the energy will shift into fire when Mars in Leo trines Neptune in Aries next year. So the realizations about who you are in the world right now are going to really carry over into outcomes for you, positive outcomes in this new energy of the outer planets, which govern the world around us, in air and fire next year. So it is a massive moment of self-realization. The signs that are most affected by this are the water signs of Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And if you have any placements there, then it is significant for you. And it doesn't have to be your sun, moon, or rising. Any significant placements there will feel this energy, and it's important for all of us. Okay? So that's one of the things that is happening. Maybe I should mention this now, but off of this grand water trine with Neptune, I really want to focus on the relationship of Neptune to Mars, because that's talking about our interpretation of everything we've learned over the last 10 years while Neptune was in Pisces, and having like an emotional response to that. So think of all the events that happened in your life to do with the world at large, the zeitgeist, the people you know, us as a community, a social community, and how do you feel about it? And what are you inspired to do? Or what are you inspired to act on? That's Mars in Cancer. Very nice energy. But because of the interplay of the Star of David, we have actually a kite that is forming onto Mercury as well. And I think I explained that in one of the short videos already, but let's just bring it to like awareness, or just talk about it for a minute. Uranus is the midpoint between Neptune and Mars. This is a minor grand trine sextile between Mars, Neptune, and Uranus. And so Uranus is prone to bring in unexpected events into your life at this time, to shake things up, to get you really into the heart of what you want to say, of who you want to define yourself as. So it's all working in a synchronicity under the Star of David. And Uranus, in this case, in this kite formation, is bringing the unexpected shakeups. And so to get your reaction, when someone says something to you or does something that's unexpected, and it kind of jolts you, and then you have this knee-jerk, honest reaction to something. That's that Uranus moment here. And it doesn't mean that there's going to be conflict. In fact, it's likely that it's going to be a moment for yourself. You're going to see something, something's going to happen, and you're going to have a real honest reaction to it. And then you're going to be in that Mercurial Scorpio energy, and you'll be like, oh, that's what it's all about. So you'll have this light bulb moment. This is extremely significant, and I would say it's the bread and butter of this energy, and it's focused on the emotions, it's focused on the intuition, and it's really important that you honor that within yourself. And I'll talk about this for each sign in some way if I feel it applies. The next energy that I think is important is the grand Earth trine, and that's forming between Uranus. There's Uranus right there, and then we have Pluto and Vesta. Now, this energy will somewhat transform into Monday because the moon will transit to where Vesta is now, and that's really critical, but we'll talk about that in a minute. For now, the trine between Pluto and Uranus is really important. The grand Earth trine is dealing with the physical world, your physical experiences, and your tangible experiences. Both Uranus and Pluto are switching signs. Pluto is going to switch signs November 19th into Aquarius. It is kind of the catalyst of the other two planets switching signs. And then later next year, Uranus will switch into Gemini. But this energy is significant because, as we said in that short video, it switches the energy from physical body, physical experiences, money, corporations, to the realm of air, which is ideas, technology, and all those sorts of things. So this grand Earth trine is a supportive energy of the Earth experiences that we have been having, and it too is bringing up a cathartic experience, which is one in which you're reflecting upon the last 15 years when Pluto was in Capricorn and having those realizations as well. So the water trine is supporting the transit of Neptune through Pisces, and you're having that emotional connection to the zeitgeist, to the world of people around you, and having your personal experience of this. And then the Earth grand trine is connecting you to the more practical side of things in the 15-year cycle. And so it's giving you, it's a real synchronistic moment astrologically. It's happening on the mundane level, which is world astrology, but it's also happening in our interpersonal lives. And so it's important to kind of appreciate both. There's also a kite off of this energy, and you've probably heard a lot about the Pluto-Mars opposition. Mars is approaching an opposition to Pluto in the anaretic degree, and so this is significant because Mars and Pluto are of the same energy, of a very similar energy. Mars governs Aries, but also Scorpio, and Pluto in modern astrology governs Scorpio, so they're sort of over the same realm. When they form an opposition, it's very significant, and in this case, this is the last major aspect between Pluto and Mars before Pluto switches signs into Aquarius. This could be a standoff, and Mars is in Cancer here. So what we're talking about is our personal, Mars's personal, emotional reflection on the state of power, the state of authority, the state of the laws and the rules around us. We're getting an emotional response to the state of the world, capitalism, everything that's happening around us. That's kind of a Pluto nature. We are having emotional a reaction to it. That doesn't mean that you're going to express emotions. It means that within your heart, you're having a reflection upon the last 14 years while Pluto was in Capricorn and Mars and Pluto were forming these aspects to one another. And you're having this kind of realization of what aspects of that work really well for you and which do not. So many people suggest that this could be a tension, and that's right. An opposition can create tension and friction, but it's also a motivating aspect in which you realize who you are vis-a-vis these structures of power in the world around you and who you want to be. So it's also aspirational, right? It's influenced also by the grand water trine of emotions, of which direction you want to go, how you feel about it. So this is a time when you may feel most contrarian and least accepting of, accepting the world as it is. This is a time of idealization and also aspiring for certain things. But this opposition is a part of the grand earth trine, and it creates a kite configuration. This greatly balances out the opposition between Pluto and Mars and makes it much more harmonious. Also, the earth element governs money and practical matters. So if there is tension between you and power structures in the world, those money matters may actually be, or practical approaches may be the way through which that tension gets resolved. So if you are dealing with a financial situation or some kind of balance of power issue, this grand trine between Uranus, Vesta, and Pluto may greatly balance it out. And on Monday, when the moon is here, you may have a big cathartic moment. The signs that are most affected by this are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, the earth signs, but also Cancer, because that's where Mars is. Okay? So be patient with this. The third energy, so October 28th is a layer of energy. They just accumulate because of the Star of David and all these transits. It's extremely rare that it's happening this way. And it's synchronistic with the transit of Pluto into Aquarius. It's really inspiring to see. And watch my videos for the Mystic Rectangle, the envelope. One of the subscribers was asking about the envelope that we talked about. So watch those videos. It's all happening at the same time. It's just because of time restrictions that we can't go through all of it. But in little pieces, we're going to cover it here and there. Okay, so there's another energy. The third energy is concerning Venus, and Venus on October 28th is squaring Mars. Okay, so this energy, we'll first talk about the energy directly, and then we'll add a layer of complexity to it. So Mars is in Pisces, Saturn is in Pisces, Saturn is in Pisces, and what has been happening with Saturn in Pisces is that it has been working over our ideology. Now, a lot of time we reference that as religion, and that's true. But Saturn in Pisces is greatly connected to our idealized perspectives and our value systems, and outside of logic, how we conceive of the world, okay? So not the logical, critical minded side of us, but maybe more the aspirational or intuitive, or how we actually feel about the world and how we communicate that through philosophy or religion. And so Saturn has been going through this placement of Pisces, and it has been working through ideology and challenging ideology since it entered in 2023. And so what's going on in that energy is that our assumed ideas, or the ideas that we're used to thinking, are getting a challenge, and those that are not working are slipping away. Venus is in Sagittarius, which is also a massive aspirational sign. Pisces and Sagittarius are aspirational signs because they're ruled by Jupiter. And so Venus in Sagittarius is inspirational, aspirational. It wants to, take on the world. It's an adventuresome Venus. And so a square to Saturn, and this is the closing square. So they had their conjunction in April 2024. So this is the last square before Venus joins Saturn again. And so here Venus is reaching for something, and it's coming up against some kind of restriction from Saturn and Pisces. So we're feeling tension from the outside world in the things we aspire to do, in the things that we aspire to be. That's okay. That's a part of that larger planetary cycle that I described between Saturn and Venus. However, under this energy, on October 28th, we also get a sextile between Lilith and Venus. And this is where it's really important to really understand what Lilith is, as opposed to applying to it some, love and light logic, because you'll miss the point. Here in this position, a sextile between Venus and Lilith produces a hateful, spiteful, jealous-like energy, which could actually personify in a person or situation that is throwing salt on wounds. So you may be feeling on or leading up to October 28th vulnerable because something that you aspire to do, Saturn in Pisces square Venus, is being kind of stopped for now. It's a part of a larger planetary cycle. We'll still get a sextile in, I think it's November. It must be in November, maybe in December, but we'll still get the closing sextile between Venus and Saturn before the conjunction. So this is a temporary thing, but how we experience that is in something that we're trying to do. Ideas are stopping us, okay? Whether they are other people's ideas or our own ideas are blocking the way. And that can be a hard hit, right? Even though it's temporary. And here comes Lilith with her Judas-like energy trying to throw a monkey wrench in. She's always looking to exploit a situation. And so a moment where we feel vulnerable, like things are not working out, a Lilith may come along and try to problematize the energy further. So don't allow that energy to go in. This is, like when someone who's mean sees something that you're feeling vulnerable about and they use that in order to try to hurt you, this is the energy here. So you might have a moment of vulnerability as something is not working out the way that you want it to. Remember, it's not saying that it's not going to work out. It's that square. You're getting that tension there. And so something or someone might show up with a negative energy and try to pour salt on your wounds. This Lilith energy is significant because it can confuse things. It can create chaos. However, it's not as powerful as the other transits, and it's certainly not as powerful as the Star of David. It's not as powerful as the Grand Trine. So it's all about you being resilient to any hateful remarks, bullying, taunting, mocking, right? So it's going to be different for everybody. It could be a person or a situation. And to be honest, it could be more than one person. It could be more than one instant of it happening because the energy is there. Okay. But most people will have just one experience of something that they're trying to do. It's not working out, Venus square Saturn, and somebody's going to come along and try to make you feel bad about it. So it's very quick. It's going to pass quickly, and just don't let it get you down. That's the message here. The signs that are most affected by this, it's a lot of signs. Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, Libra, Leo, and Taurus. Okay, so those signs are going to be the most affected by this. So just take care of your heart, take care of your well-being. And the Venus square Saturn sextile Lilith is the lesser energy. It's kind of like the filter on top of the big astrology that's happening. It's significant. Venus is a major planet. It's a personal planet, but it's, as you can see, it's kind of happening to the side of everything else. It's kind of peripheral experience. So there's two things really going on. So the fourth and last major aspect pattern that is piling up on October 28th is the kite that we talked about, but it starts from the Earth Grand Trine that we already talked about with Vesta, right? Pluto, Uranus switching signs, and Vesta about to switch signs. I think she switches signs on the 28th also into Libra, and then the moon will be here and take over. So we've talked about this several times. The grand Earth kite is very significant because this is the supportive energy or the outflow energy of the outer planets switching signs. And we've had 3 instances of the grand Earth kite while Pluto was in Capricorn. The grand Earth kite on October 28th is the last grand Earth kite that's going to happen before the outer planets switch signs. So Pluto will enter into Aquarius, but by the time next year when these kites start forming again, because of the outer planets like Venus, Mercury, and the Sun that travel together, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto will be in Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini. So we're going to be in that new energy. So this is the last iteration of this very special alignment, including the moon. And if you recall, on September 3rd and 4th, a lot of events happened in the world on that day, October 1st as well. Significant events happened. I don't discuss this on this channel as we've talked about before, but just giving a nod to the fact that they were critical days in mundane astrology. And so this is critical as well for you as an individual. It's important because it is a reflection on your life up until now. This is the portal. This is the gateway. You're moving from earth energies into air. And the moon, that will be where Vesta is now, will be your point of awareness and reflection of everything you've learned. It is that final scene in the movie. It is that, sit with yourself and understand. And this is why I said in the beginning, gosh, I wish it was a weekend, because then you would have time to reflect upon this. But this is that last alignment before Pluto enters Aquarius and all the other planets move into the air and fire signs, and the kites begin to happen in Libra as opposed to Virgo. So we've had 2 years of Virgo transits like this, and now the kites will start forming in Libra starting next year until 2034. So what is the kite doing? It's taking our awareness forward, especially regarding take an account of who you are in the world now and bring that forward. That is, what are you taking? It's almost like you're going on a long trip. What are you packing in your suitcase? But instead of clothes, shoes, whatever, you're packing qualities of the world now. This is probably one of the most important times in which you should journal or make some kind of record for yourself of who you are and what's important for you. Write a little bit about a vision for yourself. A vision board would be amazing now. This is the energy. And those of you who love manifestation, I have a manifestation channel, and I stopped posting manifestation content because it became a fad and an echo chamber. And so the information about manifestation that started coming out was really out of sync with the way that I understand manifestation. And so in this energy, if you're interested in real manifestation, I think that this is some of the most powerful energy for manifesting a good life for yourself, a good direction, a good road ahead. So whatever you do this October 28th, even the Sunday to the 27th, is this perfect energy for that. Overall, what I would say, I should tell you what signs are most affected under this grand Earth kite. Of course, it's the Earth signs, Virgo and Capricorn and Taurus, but also Pisces, of course, because Neptune is there. You are going to have visions of the world, of where you are in it, what your position in it is, And this is the time for you to pay attention and go slow. This is your moment. And what you do with that moment will determine your success moving forward. So use your time wisely. It's a beautiful time. So that's all I had to share. Oh, I did see. Good. 34. See, these short videos are going to help us have like shorter sessions for astrology, more to the point, so that I don't have to jam in extra things. So just to acknowledge, there's mystic rectangles that are formed in several directions. There's a couple different envelope patterns. If you have a specific question about a transit right now, then please let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to make short form content for you. It's much easier to do it that way now that I've figured out how I want to do it. The Mars-Pluto opposition is significant. It's one of the things I didn't mention when I was describing the astrology was there's like something within you that wants something. That desire, that want is your intuition telling you something about your lived experience. Not all of you will be fully aware of what that is. Not everybody workshops every part of their life. So for some of you, this will be a desire or a feeling within you about which way to take things forward. Okay? So trust your instincts, trust your intuition. And what I wrote, and I'll tell you guys the truth, the opposition, Pluto is extremely powerful here. Okay, extremely powerful. It's, let's just leave it at that. The power structures in our life are what they are. You're not going to, remember when I used to tell you guys about screaming at the ocean? Like if you've ever stood at the ocean, you know what I mean. It's like loud, it's vast, it's loud, it's daunting. And so, or any massive body of water, right? And so Pluto is this thing that you can't change. It is a fact. However, Mars has the audacity to try. Mars has the audacity to be free amid a system that may make them feel as if they're not. Mars can feel inspired. It's that moment, it's a really beautiful moment of being true to yourself and pushing forward. And because Mercury is applying a trine to Mars, the sheer energy of manifestation, the sheer energy of possibilities, if you get in touch with your feelings, make sure that they're clean, make sure that they're not like coming from a bad place. Really think about what you truly want. Get in touch with your heart, speak from your heart, vision board, do whatever you need. It's a really wonderful energy. So there is I told you guys about the kite before, that there is chance of tectonic activity, but in my opinion, the kite on September 3rd and 4th and the one on October 1st was much more problematic in that respect. Uranus has moved off of Algol a little bit, so we have a little bit more breathing room, but it's still active. It could still potentially happen somewhere. So it is what it is. Astrology is not like good and bad. It's not a binary. So, but overall, I would say it's a beautiful energy. I would even venture to say it's probably the best energy of the rest of the year, so take this energy, take it with you, workshop it, delve into it, spend this weekend embracing it, and then use it, every aspect of it. And when I say use it, I mean understand it, act on instincts, do the things that you want to do, stand in your truth, observe what's happening in the world around you, and follow through with those things. Okay? Very, very nice energy. So I'm going to shift, and now we're going to do the all sign. I was so excited to tell you guys for such a long time. And then I figured out the short form video format that I wanted to, and it was just, that's my kite, right? In part. So very inspiring moment. Okay, so I'm trying to share with you that if you follow your intuition, if you follow your desire, then you will find yourself in a space. If you can really listen to yourself and what draws you in, then you can find yourself in a space that's authentic to you. And through that, you will find success. So listen to that. This is a critical moment, and it is playing upon the transit of Uranus in Taurus, which is 7 years, Neptune in Pisces, which is also several years, like decade, and Pluto in Capricorn, which is 14 years. So huge cycle. And again, let me tell you my favorite little tidbit fun fact, just in case you haven't been watching. Since 84, when Pluto entered into Scorpio, we have lived in a time in which the outer planets, that's the slowest one, so they're the most rare, were in their ruling sign. So Pluto was in Scorpio from 84 until like 90 something. So if you lived during that time, Pluto was in rulership of its sign in Scorpio. And in the late 90s, Uranus was through Aquarius into the early 2000s. So Uranus rules Aquarius, and that was a sacred time. And now Neptune has been in Pisces for the last 10 years. So if you're an adult over a certain age, like if you were born earlier than 95, you would have lived through a period in which the outermost planets, their slowest, were in their home sign. And that is spectacular astrologically. We've lived through one of the most significant timelines of humanity. Okay, this does not happen this way. And so I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so let's do our all sign. I get goosebumps when I talk about it. Sorry if it's redundant, but I just think it's so elegant. Okay, so let's take a look at the signs. So we have Aries first. Okay, nice. Aries should always go first because we're looking at your chart anyway. Okay, so hi Aries. So I'm going to give you some context about what this may mean for you. I'm also going to pull 3 cards for you. So Sun, Moon, and Rising. The Two of Swords, Moon in Libra. And then we have the Five of Swords. I do find that this deck pulls a little dark, so don't be afraid, guys. I have noticed that over the years. Two of Pentacles. Not only is it dark, beautiful dark imagery, but I find it pulls a little dark compared to other decks. Okay, so it's not a bad time. I think the astrology is just splendid, but not without its shortcomings. Venus square Saturn. We have to live through it. We have 2 Venus square Saturns a year, or every 10 months, so it's not such a rare instant. What's rare about it is at the same time as that it's happening, we have a Venus sextile Lilith, but okay, I digress. So I do feel as though you're going to make a change, Aries, because there's going to be something around you that you feel somewhat uncomfortable by. That's that Five of Swords. And it's going to be a slow and steady pace moving forward. Next year is going to be very significant for you as Neptune starts to enter Aries, and then things will start to really come into focus a lot more. I think that the opposition between Mercury and Uranus is really important right now. Really listen to the people around you with whom you share resources. So people with whom you share money with in some way, physical form, or I don't know, however you share money or equity with someone, listen to the information. They may be relaying to you information, or information about them is coming, or indirectly you'll be finding something out. But I do see with this Two of Pentacles, you might embark on a new path. After feeling uncomfortable by something. Something's going to make you feel uncomfortable. Lilith supports this as well in the 7th house. You may suddenly get a pang or an intuition about something and say, I got to go in a different direction. This is coming from a place where you didn't see what was going on, and you begin this path in a new direction. Also, Pluto in the 10th house opposite Mars. So with Pluto-Mars opposition, one of my notes on that opposition was taking a little risk, even if you don't know what the outcome will be. There's a little bit of an unknown, a little question mark, and that's what the Two of Pentacles signifies for me. But I strongly felt that that was the path that you needed to take, or that was the correct path. So it was not incorrect. It was not incorrect. I'm getting a download, sorry. It was not incorrect for you to try. And one of the main messages of the whole reading of all of astrology was, even if it doesn't work, when all these other planets move into the next signs, you will try again and you will succeed then. So don't be so tied to the outcome in this case. You're supposed to listen to your outwardly environment, and as it puts pressure on you in some way, I think you're going to make a decision and call a spade a spade. Don't stay in the situation. Move on, even if it's not necessarily guaranteed what the outcome will be. Okay? Be brave. Okay? Good luck, Aries. We'll talk again. Here is the next sign. Okay. So Sun, Moon, Rising, Aquarius. So these cards are really cool, but they have different associations. So people say Hermit, so they're like Virgo, but I'm following this energy here, which is Aquarius. Hey, weirdos, let's talk about your life for a minute. Let's see what's up. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Of course, you're just waiting. November 19th is D-Day, because that's when Pluto enters your first house. So you're anticipating all that energy. But don't spend a month waiting and anticipating, because the sun is at your MC at the top of your chart in your 10th house. So be amongst people, connect with people, communicate freely. Don't hold back because something is coming a month away. Stay in the moment and do the things that you want to do. I see pleasure, I see joy, I see celebration. So you have this wonderful transit alignment between Venus and Mercury and the Sun. Venus is also approaching her, now it escapes me, elongation, maximum elongation. So both Venus and Mercury are pretty far for how far they are from the sun. And so it's just a really nice alignment astrologically between Venus, Mercury, and the sun. There's just a lot of room for enjoyment for you. There's someone in your family, I keep getting this for Aquarius, someone in your family is weird. They're a funny uncle, like not in a bad way, they're just quirky, and they keep coming up in an important way. But in some way, it's a positive energy. This person is bringing positivity in. I do think that many of you are going to experience significant primary relationships with someone as Mars transits into Leo and turns back retrograde and enters Pisces again, or Cancer again. Remember what I mentioned in the astrology about the triple alignment, triple trine between Mars and Neptune next year, or it started today. And so we have 2 more to go. So the relationship between money, which is Neptune in the 2nd house, and this partnership is really significant for you. So there could be something happening for you, and there could be something happening for you, a relationship that's significant, related to your own resources, to your own equity, to your own finances. So pay attention to that. When the moon reaches this position, it's likely that you will know what to change. So you, Aquarian, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, whatever, are likely to experience a moment of, hey, I need to change this. It's like you're packing for the vacation, you're packing for the trip, and last minute changes might happen for you as you let go of something that you thought like you were going to bring along. I don't think it's huge, but I would expect that there will be some, and it will happen this weekend, Monday or so, where you'll be like, okay, I need to let go of something. I need to let go of a situation. I need to change things up before Pluto enters Aquarius. You'll understand that something's not fitting in correctly. Okay, so let's take a look at your cards. We have the Knight of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. See, there's just maybe a nice conduit of energy for you, maybe like a nice person that will connect you with the outside world. It's a very social energy for you, Aquarius. People all around. Five of Pentacles. Money will come. That's Saturn in the second house is always a tougher transit. It just happens once every 30 years or so. And then we have Lovers. So there's that Lovers. You're under pressure financially, but I think that things will work out, and there's like bigger things at play here. I think that the social connections that I was encouraging you to pursue now is something that you should really consider. You're having fun here. Sun, Mercury, and Venus. When you go have fun, I think that you will have, it will be a conduit for you to indirectly start addressing financial matters that are sort of out of your control. So wait with the financial matters. I mean, don't be truant or whatever else, but wait with addressing the things that you're financially worried about. Allow certain things to change, let go of something, and go be social. Okay? Good luck, Aquarius. Okay, so the next sign we have is... Okay, so we have Capricorn. Hey, Capricorn. Let's take a look at your aspects. Okay, so Capricorn. So these are the last moments you're going to have Pluto in your first house. I've had Pluto through my first house. I would say it's some of the best times of my life. I felt, especially as a person, I felt like I was untouchable in a way. I had this like rigidness about me. I had this like much more tough exterior than I usually do. And it made me kind of bold, and by the end of the transit I felt very self-confident about my abilities. It taught me a lot about strength. So I hope you've had a similar experience in that, whether you're sun, moon, or rising Capricorn. It's the first house of one of those transits. So okay, so this is a social time for you too. The sun is in the 11th house, but overall in your chart, what I would focus on is this kite that's pointing right at your MC. Look back to September 3rd, September 4th, and October 1st to see if there's a pattern that's emerging about what's changing in your outside world. You may have a third iteration of a significant event that happened on those dates that is transforming you, that is taking you forward, that is changing things for you. In your strength, I think that you should be very careful of Lilith energy in your public life. You are strong, somebody's taking away from it. And when we look at women, sorry guys, I'm not, trying to exclude you, but women who are strong, so if you're a woman with strong Capricorn placements, you go against the grain of the patriarchy, right? So you express qualities that the patriarchy doesn't accept. And even though we've come a long way, there's still a lot of resilience to strong women. So what I see here is I see a chart here of someone who's in their element, someone who is very, very strong right now. And that strength may in some way motivate someone to be harmful to you because they don't like you being a woman who's strong, etc. And they can be covert behaviors, things like that. That's a sextile to Venus, and it's a square. Venus is a square to Saturn. So there could be small roadblocks in your way. I think those roadblocks are done through deception, manipulation, backstabbing, energy that is working against you because of your strength. So focus on your strength, deal with whatever you need to deal with in those situations, but they are relatively minor annoyances. Okay, they're not going to break you. It's just funny that people would act that way. Okay, sorry, let's pick some cards. it's someone who's, yeah, there is this energy of, and for you it's expressing itself through the 10th house and the 12th house, which could signify backhandedness, sneaking around, that kind of stuff. We have the Ace of Swords. We have the Six of Cups. See, this is nice. You are well liked, not here, but in the 10th house. You are well liked, Capricorn. Don't let them make you feel as though you're less well liked than you are. This is your moment of celebration. That's why I shared with you that I've had this transit in my first house. So this is your moment of celebration. This is your moment of glory. You know, you've learned those lessons. You've taken the senior seminar of Pluto and Capricorn. You're perfect. Okay. So what we're getting is a message, and the Six of Cups, someone close to you, a heartfelt message, and the 10 of Cups. Now we're looking at Saturn here in the 7th house in Cancer in opposition to Pluto. To me, this could signify that something got in my throat. I think I swallowed like a dust particle. Sorry. So, okay. So, Saturn is in your 7th house. We have wonderful aspects to Mercury in the 11th house, and opposite Pluto, and then also a trine to Neptune down here. This to me looks like a wonderful social environment that greatly appreciates you, specifically a special person who cares a lot about you. So I see friends, I see a loved one, and what I see from that loved one is them sharing an opinion of you that is extremely positive to you. So somebody's coming through to you, someone you care deeply about, someone who you deeply respect is coming to you with wonderful information about who you are and kind of honoring that strength about you that has arisen. It's 14 years of hard work that has accumulated until now. And so you're coming into that full expression of that, and someone around you or even several people are celebrating, but really look to words of affirmation from a loved one. There's people who love your strength, right? This is why I was saying Lilith and Venus is a peripheral energy, because there are much more powerful things happening around you now. People who love you, people who are going to express that love to you. That's the Ace of Swords. And they're going to say, wow, you've done so well. So look for that this weekend. Okay. Or maybe on Monday at work. Okay. So next energy. I must have swallowed some kind of a dust particle or something. It made me choke. Sorry, guys. Okay, so the next sign we have is Taurus. Hey, Taurus, let's take a look at your chart. Taurus. Okay, so Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. So for you, this centers on Uranus, which is in Taurus, and it's opposite Mercury in the 7th house. So remember, there's a kite on this aspect off of Pluto, and where are we? Vesta and Uranus here. I feel as though you are experiencing reflection from others as well, especially a significant person, a partner, a boss, who's reflecting upon your Taurus energy of Uranus, how much you've changed in the last 7 years, how unique you have been, how inventive, how creative, but you're also getting a powerful opposition between Pluto and Mars. There's something in your outside world that you feel defiant towards, Taurus. There's something that has been brewing in your mind under the surface about how the world functions, and you're just like, I can't accept this anymore. This doesn't mean that you're going to do something wild or unhinged, but it's likely that you're going to make a commitment to yourself through this to reach for something better. In other words, you're not happy with the outside world and you're going to fight. You decide to fight within yourself to achieve something different. And you're going to seek the support and empowerment of your friends and loved ones to do so. This is the wonderful time to do this. There could be a situation that's stressing you out involving a dynamic with another person. It's an open enemy, so this isn't hidden. It could be, for example, this is just an example. Some people could be experiencing like worries that something's going to end, like a job, because of somebody's behavior or somebody external to them. And they may feel as though, or a relationship is under threat, a love is under threat of not working out. The only circumstances in which it's not going to work out is if it's not working anyway. But there's definitely, remember, I told you, Lilith throws in the monkey wrench. So there's something about what's going on that is not as fluid as you would want it to be. You get a temporary no, and you think that everything will end because of this. And you may be around a situation that's playing on that, that's preying on that. So be patient with any feelings of doubt that some things will not work out. You have much better energies that are motivating you to go after what you want and ultimately following your passion and making a mark on the world and making a decision within yourself to follow through the things that you understand is actually leading you to amazing places. Okay, so let's pick some cards for this. So let me just stress, this isn't outward expression. So this is not like you going look for another job. This is something close to home, a realization, something within your heart that sort of you determine within yourself, Taurus, that this is the direction you want to take. And to add to this, the sextile between Uranus and Mars, it's kind of like your light bulb moment of saying, aha, you know, these are the lessons I've learned in the last 7 years. Well, Uranus was in my first house. I've seen the other side of the world. I've seen a different way of living, and I'm going to adopt those things into my life now. So you've been challenged by the world in some way, but through that challenge, you have become more flexible, and now you are pushing ahead. And you're looking at the outside world and you're like, wait, man, this is not fair. I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to live differently. So it's a personal decision. Okay. Okay. So this will apply to different situations. Every Taurus is different. We all have different rising, sun, moon combinations. We have the 3 of Cups, and then we have the Empress for Taurus. This is your ruler, Venus. And then we have the 8 of Wands. Well, this is looking really beautiful. Mercury in your 7th house, communication. 8 of Wands is Sag Mercury, but it's still the similar kind of idea. It really seems as though that there's like a decision to be with the people that you care about and to communicate with them. Mercury in the 7th house, form these connections. It's almost like the story of the prodigal son coming back home and sharing your learned experiences. This isn't so much involving family, but more social connections, and especially loved ones, like your best friend, your closest work colleagues, or possibly your love interest or your partner. But there's a reconnection here with the 3 of Cups. There's a deep celebration of love, and there's a lot of emotional encouragement. And it gets really at the heart of who you are, which is here in the IC, the first building blocks of your personality when you're a child. So you're really true to you, and you're like, hey, these people matter a lot, and I'm going to align with them, and this is the direction I'll take. Okay, so that's your guiding principle for this transit. Okay, so let's see the next sign. The next sign is, we have Pisces. Oh, good. So we have Pisces about not even halfway through. The rest of the readings are going to be weird. Pisces has this weird effect on me. It gets me every time. Okay. So Saturn, Pisces. Well, I really feel as though the outside world, Pisces, does not let you be you at this time. And one of the major life lessons, or one of the major things that you are doing at this time, is moving away from dependency upon their opinion. I don't think that you're going to be this way forever, but I think that your winning strategy for the current time is not to listen to others. The whole saying, when you try to explain things to people and they make it a point to not understand you, you're going to experience a lot of that right now. It has to do with the energy itself and the people that are around you that are expressed by this energy. And so you have a lot of this kind of forced misunderstanding around you, or simply the wrong type of people that don't understand what you're bringing. What you're bringing to the table is insight from the things that you have learned for the last while. So you have had a particular set of experiences that have changed your perspective. And what I'm saying is that the perspective that you bring into situations is really deep. It's really informed. It's really deep. It's not for everyone. It's, when they say, when you're the worst person when you have like the most amount of people around you, and when you're kind of at your best, when you're most authentic to you. I don't really agree with that across the board, but I agree with the general sentiment. So by being so truthful, Pisces, you're sort of isolated yourself. So you're going to really weed out with Saturn and Pisces a lot of the fluff around you. So there will be a lot of people who misunderstand what you have to say. Okay. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. This is about getting in touch with the people who matter. Now you are about to have a really nice 2 months with Scorpio season and Sagittarius season. So enjoy that. And like I said before, the alignment of Venus and Mercury to the sun right now is really nicely spread out. And what that is leading to is just like a highly social time for you, joyous, enjoyable. If you're looking for work, this is a really great alignment as well. The kite into your 7th house. Look for a pattern on September 3rd and 4th, October 1st, and then October 28th. This is when the moon was in this position. Someone might be standing out from the crowd as a really wonderful person in your life. Also, you turn your back on the influence of others, peer pressure, to go after the things you truly want. Maybe this is informing who you love or the direction you want to take in love. In other words, you may be choosing to go after love with someone that other people don't like. Maybe they think they're weird, or maybe whatever. But I do feel as though you're really inclined to follow your heart here. I think this is a celebratory 2 months for Pisces. And yeah, there could be someone playing on your fear of failure or endings, but it's most likely a jealous energy of your success and your likability at this time. So you're well liked by others through the transit of Venus in the 10th house. Okay, so let's see the next tarot cards. I like this energy for Pisces. It's very nice. 8 of Pentacles. I would say it's my favorite so far out of all the signs we've read. So we have 8 of Pentacles. And we have the Queen of Pentacles. That's Sun and Virgo energy. That's that 7th house. Someone really, really... So, all these feelings of being misunderstood, misheard, I think they've been with you for a while, these energies. So it's not really the central focus point of what we're talking about. This is very much about recognition, about being heard, about being seen, not doubting your relationship, not doubting your friends. They're true to you. You know who your friends and enemies are. There's no doubt about it here. It's very clear. And when Mars starts to enter into Leo and has its retrograde period between the 6th and the 5th house in your chart, then if you have any doubts about anyone, it's likely that those are going to clarify. There's definitely someone issuing to you nice energy. You're being invited. People are telling you that they like you. People are reaching out to you. So yes, there's this energy of not being understood or people giving you a hard time, in other words. But I do think that there's this really loving energy of solid people, Queen of Pentacles, Page of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, solid people wanting you in their space, wanting you in their time. At work, this might be a very successful time for Pisces, especially through the end of Sagittarius season. So astrologically, after this transit on October 28th, we're entering into a choppy waters energy. Astrologically, it's not going to be as rosy as this energy is. And so you are getting sort of shielded by this because the sun is transiting through your 9th and 10th house. So your outward experience of that is going to be tempered by the fact that the sun is in your outward houses. You personally may still feel weird over the next couple months. We'll talk about that next. But the outward, like in other words, your outside world is not going to take a hit as much as other people. If you have Pisces placements, you're not going to feel so attacked or whatever else is going to happen. Okay. So hopefully that's a good thing. Okay. So next sign is Leo. Hey, speaking of Leo, let's take a look at your astrology. So, well, right away, the moon stuck out for me in your 2nd house. So it's not really how I'm reading this chart this time, but maybe we can bring some focus to it since it kind of intuitively was like, Veroosh, pay attention to me. So, okay, meow, meow, Leos. I think that you're going to have, look at the pattern of the moon in Virgo over the last few months. We have September 3rd and the 4th. We have October 1st, and now we have October 28th. If there is a pattern of an outside pressure, putting pressure on you financially, something you don't trust or something you don't like or something that's kind of a negative experience or energy, it is likely that as the moon aligns with this last degree of Virgo, through this weekend, you are going to think about making changes in response to the things around you. So it's like you have a business partner who you can't really trust, or somebody's messing around with money. There's some kind of a response on an emotional level that you are prone to entertain. Over the next few months, we have Mars over your ascendant into the 1st house and back again. Be very careful for making big decisions. This is going to be, it's not choppy energy, but it's a lot of back and forth. And you don't want to make decisions too quickly until Mars settles into Leo a bit more. So I think I told you guys about the trine between Neptune and Mars. It's a 3-part trine. So we have the first one today. The next one I think is in February, and the third one is in May or June of 2025. I would even venture to say that you wait until May or leading up to it before you make the big decisions regarding finances, work, just big decisions about how your life is organized. If you can't wait that long, I would wait till the 2nd trine passes when Mars is retrograde in Cancer, sorry. So wait until that time, but definitely, so that period after February, I'll put the information on Instagram. Wait for the time after February, ideally after May 2025. This doesn't mean don't live your life. I'm just saying be a little cautious with this energy. Things will change, and you don't want to make too big decisions before that time passes. There's someone in your neighborhood who's destabilizing for you. So Lilith is in the middle of the 3rd house for another 5 months. It's a minor energy. In other words, gray rock. Look up gray rock if you don't know what gray rock is. Gray rock, this person, they're just, again, creating disorder And so don't allow them to create disorder. Stay true to you. In periods of minor doubt that things will work out, just stay vigilant. I think that the focus for Leo is stay abreast of the outside world. Like, you have wonderful things going on in your career, in your public life. I think that you find yourself right before a lot of big things are happening. So don't feel the need to have to get that all out now. In other words, you may be feeling as though things should be happening, and you feel the anticipation of Mars into Leo, Pluto into Aquarius. Allow the energies to transition over the next 6 months before you make big decisions about them. However, with regard to money, I think you're ready to make some decisions. And so if you're feeling the urge to make decisions, look to September 3rd, 4th, October 1st, and now October 28th for a pattern of the moon in this position. What is it telling you to do? That's in the context of these outer planets switching signs. So these are big life lessons over the last 15 years. So what is the financial theme of your life over the last 15 years that you are feeling the urge to make a decision on? It's time to make it. So to look forward to the next 20 years. Let's look at your cards. So we have the Lovers, Gemini. It doesn't have to be a Gemini. That's the 11th house. And then Uranus will enter. Oh, you're going to have fun when Uranus enters into Gemini. That's a really nice aspect. Yeah, I feel like you're early to the party, Leo. You're early to the party, 6 of Cups. You have social support. Social support is strongest in your area of family. I do feel as though people outside of your family are a little sus, a little inconsistent. There's a little bit of an energy of where will things go. So there's no guarantee that there's going to be the outcome you want here. You don't know what everybody's up to yet. Things will come to fruition later, but your family is really strong. So turn to your family. And whenever I say turn to your family, I think of people who don't have blood relatives that they're close to. Turn to the people that you are your family. It doesn't matter if it's blood or not. So we have the 6 of Cups, fulfillment. But I do feel as though this 8 of Cups, it's a feeling of I'm ready for this now, but the party's not happening. It's like being the first to the dance floor and ready to dance, and it's not quite happening for you yet, but it will. And I think that just be patient. In times like this, in which you're waiting for a big change to happen in your life, it's really good to invest time in yourself. So, do the things that you would want to do when you are busy, so that, I don't know, do things that empower you so that later when you are busy, you'll be like, oh, I'm glad I did that. Okay. But yeah, definitely fulfillment and support from people around you. Although social fulfillment may be not here yet. It may still be a couple months before you get what you want, which is probably putting pressure on you to not act in a financial situation, but I think you should. So not financial advice, but just some insight. Okay, so here is the next message. We're halfway through. So next message is for Libra. Hi, Libra. Let's take a look at your message for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Okay, so Libra's got the first house, Lilith. Okay. Well, so let's just be frank. Libra is like the anti-moon, okay? So if the moon is certain qualities, then Libra is the antithetical energy to the positive qualities of the moon in Libra. So if the moon in Libra is very social, if it's very pro-social and healthy, then Lilith in Libra can be antisocial, can be gruff, can be just rough around the edges. So when Lilith is in your first house, she may make you feel maybe not angry, but she may put ideas in your mind that are of things that are not actually happening. And she may prompt you to be frustrated with people that you don't need to be frustrated with. So that's one side of it. On the other hand, she throws circumstances into your life that create environments in which you feel threatened, but that threat is completely, it's a fake. It's a fake threat. So if you feel threatened by your environment because Lilith is in the first house, she'll make you feel uneasy, but it's all lies. It's all manipulation. So Lilith in the first house essentially is messing with your experience of things, but also creating an environment in which you act unlike yourself. So you really need to not find yourself in a space in which you feel defensive. Okay. So if she creates circumstances in which you feel defensive, you need to fight the urge to act out. Okay. Through this transit, it's happening to you, but it's happening through you. And so you definitely don't want to lean into like any aggressive or friction energies. They're not going to serve you, and you're going to regret them in the long run. Okay, I think the Grand Water Trine is some of the best energy in your chart right now. This has you stepping out into the world through connections with others, through friendships, and also like with a key goal of financial growth, financial prosperity, and personal improvement. There could be people in your life who are outside of like your traditional beaten path. They may be people who can lead you to great success and great improvements. Also, if you are coming from a place where there's a lot of restrictions in your home or near you, if you come from like a real rule-based background, or if you have a partner with a lot of like no-go zones, like they don't want to do a lot of things, this is a time when you may actually rebel. And some of you might just pull the plug on things, but for many of you, you will choose to go in spite of those rules, in spite of the limiting factor of your immediate environment. This could see you taking chances in the outside world, in your career, changing things up, taking a risk with your career, taking a risk with work. And in some ways, it's a really good energy to try, but just remember my initial comments that there's not necessarily a guarantee that it's going to work out. Okay. So, but try, just in the act of trying, you're sort of succeeding anyway. So even if the first time it doesn't work out, then you try again and you lean into that energy. But your first energy response may be like like you may apply for a job, you may take a risk, apply for a job, and the first job may refuse that for you, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing to try. And if you try again, you'll need to tweak things, I think, change things around a little bit. This is the third kite onto this position, right onto the ascendant. You're going through a massive transformation here, Libra, because these kites that have been pointing straight at your 12th house, they're about to emerge into your first house next year. So you're about to receive all the blessings from them. So in a way, this is a real cathartic moment for many Libras. It's in the 12th house, so it's not explicit. Like, it's not necessarily that you're even aware of all the nuances of everything that's going on, but it is a huge transition moment. And next year, these kites that are going to be pointing at your first house, they're going to really push you on they're going to push you on the back of everything that happened when they were pointing in Virgo in your 12th house. So all the events from last year until now that the Earth Grand Trine or kite was pointing on, the consequences of that will build out to experiences that you have next year. Okay. So next year is like kind of like your prize. Let's see the cards that you get. Okay, so we have the sun. You're the first one to get that. That's really good. Sun, moon, and rising. And then we have, tell all the Libras, you deserve the sun. 7 of Cups. And that's Scorpio Venus. But we're back in the second house. Also, second house transit of Sun and Mercury. Good for money. This is a good time for money. And the Devil. Oh. Okay. There's someone around you who needs to be removed. So maybe that's that. I am getting this energy. Well, Saturn is in your 6th house. So it's not really hidden, is it? There's someone in your life who is a restrictive element on you, a bad influence maybe. So maybe this weekend you're getting rid of them one way or another, coming to terms with the fact that it's a bad influence. But there's definitely something that is limiting your prosperity and hope. And in the 12th house, it could be like a psychological shift you don't even notice, where you come to terms with something and let something go from the past that was not helping you, so that you can really enjoy the sun moving forward. It's really kind of like the shedding moment for Libra as the kite starts pointing into your 1st house. And just to remind you, that kite is going to be pointing into your 1st house until 2034. So a long time. So, you know, it's been a long time coming, but it's going to be around a lot longer, and it's going to really put you into center stage. So look forward to that energy. Okay, so next sign. Libras, be excited, be happy. I think I got too serious. Lean in on financial circumstances at this time. Put your effort into things at work. There are restrictive elements at work around you, especially in the social front, but they are too temporary. So just continue to apply effort and you will see a positive outcome. Break away from any familial bonds that are restrictive or any restrictions within your family, okay? Such as beliefs. There's Virgo, the High Priestess. Virgos. Have I ever told you guys my theory about how astrologers pick which house system they use? I have this theory that astrologers choose the house system and choose between sidereal, which is 24 degrees before tropical, when they look at their chart and it suits their chart better. So I think that astrologers like choose to do sidereal astrology if they don't like, you know, there's like, for example, with this chart, if you were an astrologer with a 3rd degree Scorpio sun and you're like, I don't want to be a Scorpio, I want to be a Libra, that's when the astrologers choose to go sidereal, because that in sidereal system, they would have a Libra sun. And the same thing with the house system. So the quadrant versus like the whole sign or equal sign houses. I think that some astrologers choose which house system they use that favors their chart more. That's just my little assumption, my little conspiracy theory. I don't know why that came to pass, but I think probably something to do with a Virgo out there, but I don't remember. But yeah, that's my conspiracy theory. Okay, Virgos, let's take a look at, and let me know in the comments if this is true, if you've chosen the house system or the like sidereal versus tropical system, zodiac, based on what fits best in your chart, what you like better. Are you avoiding any transits? Let me know in the comments and we'll have a laugh together. So Virgos, right away I'm drawn to the 7th house Saturn. You have people that are near you that are putting great pressure on you through this time. This started in beginning of 2023. This is a cyclical pattern. Saturn's transit is 29 years. And so Saturn in Pisces goes through this area once every 30 years. It's a time in which you may be put under a lot of pressure from people you really care about. So you're number one, right? The people who are the most important to you are being extremely hard on you. And that's what Saturn in the 7th house is really showing, which is sad because Uranus is up here at the top of the chart. you're the most inventive, most creative, most breaking down barriers, breaking down doors, forging a new path here. And so we have that kite that is forming as Mercury approaches your IC that I think is so powerful, off of a base of Pluto and Vesta. There's something about this that just tells me to tell you that you're supposed to follow through with your unique ideas and who you see yourself as being. We've had several iterations of this kite energy. We have had several iterations of this kite energy. First, it was more with Venus, and now with Mercury more. And then we had the moon transit on September 3rd and 4th, October 1st, and now October 28th. So hopefully you've come into realization just how special you are. And my comments are about Saturn because I just feel like in a moment of really coming to terms with how special or how lovely you are, there could be pressures around you from people who are close to you that are unaccepting of it. And you could be experiencing tension from that. And it's unfortunate because I want you to fly free, and just enjoy yourself. But it's not necessarily like a finished and done situation. So don't focus so much on the critical people, the criticalness from others. Focus on yourself. Listen to your truth. Look at that pattern, September 3rd and 4th, October 1st, October 28th. What were you doing that was so inventive and so unique? You've been doing something for a while, which is Pluto in the 5th house, that is true to you. It's probably off the beaten path. Maybe a lot of people don't know that you're doing it. And I think that it's aligning you with a new direction socially. And Mars is opposite of Pluto. So go with those people. Go with the new people. Go with the new friends. Go with the friends that are aligned with this interest that is your foundation. Pursue those things. In other words, I think that Saturn may be affecting how people near you are interacting with you, Virgo. And I don't think you should internalize it. Remember what I said about Saturn and Venus in the beginning of the video and Lilith? There could be problematic energy around you that's playing upon certain angles, like creating tension, but the overall environment is very inspiring. So don't allow those people to affect you, Virgo. You have so much to enjoy, so much to pursue, so much to experience, and I think you should go after those things and not pay attention to who is saying what to you. I do feel like it's like a negative, just someone being negative or dismissive of things that you're excited about, and you should go after the things that you truly want to do, and I think you'll have great success in them. We have the Page of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Then we have the Knight of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries. And then we have the Four of Wands. Okay, so there's definitely a pursuit of something that brings great joy. I do think that it's like I said, off the beaten path. It's not, how do I say this? It's not what you usually do. You're trying something new. You're trying a different direction. There's an invitation here. If you pursue the invitation, you're going to have a good time. Think outside the box. In other words, to me, it looks as though Saturn is caging you in. And we get caged in by peer pressure from people nearest us so many times, right? Like this is true for everybody. And so, but Saturn here is putting that peer pressure on. And your goal here, what this is saying is that there's an outside invitation, something from outside of that direction of pressure or limitation, and it's offering you a nice energy. And Four of Wands can be romance for some of you. That could be the end of the transit of Pluto in your 5th house, romance, an enjoyable time. It could be lots of different things, but there's another way. It's coming in quickly. It's coming as an invitation of some kind. So stop allowing yourself to be under the heel of something negative, right? Like Saturn. Don't, like, when you know somebody's character is to be negative, when you know somebody's disposition is to be harsh, why are you listening to them? It becomes not constructive. So, like, it's nice to hear critical feedback, but if it becomes the dominant narrative where you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you have to sort of kind of pause and be like, I'm not bad. I'm actually Miss Creative Virgo. Uranus is at the top of my chart, and I'm going to go be awesome. Okay? Okay. Good luck, Virgo. Let's look at the next sign. Don't let them cage you in, Virgo. Power to the people. Okay, so the next energy is Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you guys are watching and you want to see my videos, it really helps when you leave a comment when I post the video and leave a like when you're watching. It helps the algorithm know that you want to see my content again. You're sort of programming the algorithm by likes and comments saying, hey, I want to see this content again. So it's for you. It's not for me. Actually, it's like it's a symbiotic relationship. Hey, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'm so excited that Pluto is leaving your 8th house. As I was looking at these different charts and looking at all the different aspects for each of the rising and sun signs, the more and more I just thought about you and how it's done. Like, Pluto's been so tough on Gemini. And I used to say that Cancer had like the roughest transit of Pluto. But I think since 2019, Gemini has had a really intense ride of Pluto through the 8th house. Betrayal from family members, betrayal from people close to you, people who should be trustworthy and honest or not. It's just a harsh energy. Mars here is you getting in touch with the feelings of that, like F you to whoever was unjust towards you. You're just kind of done with it, and you're not going to entertain that energy anymore. Overall, Gemini, while Saturn is up in your 10th house, do not expect everything to suddenly shift and change. It's going to be a slow process until Saturn enters Aries next year. So for now, you are experiencing some degree of restriction. You're experiencing, how do I say this? You're experiencing some degree of restriction. You're experiencing some energy of not getting what you want as fast as you want. And so you want to go quickly, you want to move past things, but Saturn is going to slow that process down, especially with things like work or trying to achieve something, social mobility, right? So you want to get past the situation, but Saturn is there and it's really slowing that process down. And so you just need to understand that's the way the world works, or that's the pace of things, and be patient with that process. Okay, so for you, there's been kites that have been pointing on to the 4th house of home and family. And I feel as though since September 1st, you may have been coming into realization about how you want your home to be, where you want your home to be, certain decisions about family, certain decisions about those kinds of things. That final kite is happening on October 28th. And I think that you may be coming up to making a decision about changing some things around. This could be a move. This could be like, I just want to change the way I live kind of ideas. And so under this aspect, you are probably likely to make smaller changes to do with your house, to do with your living arrangements. But I do feel as though we need to acknowledge that there could be some kind of energy that is conflictual with regard to love specifically. And I feel like in terms of partnerships and people who are really close to you, Gemini, they are sharing supportive energy to the struggle that you have to make it in the outside world. They are being supportive. But there's a lover boy energy, or there's an energy of like there's like partnership love, right? Like people who you're very close with, best friends. And then there's like a more like romantic side to things. That romantic side could be showing up for you in a less than supportive way. So while your friends, loved ones, best friend are super supportive, there could be someone who you're casually seeing, someone that you're having a romance with. Somebody's giving you a hard time, and it's making you not feel so great. And it's coming in some way in conflict with that Saturn. So you have this desire for things to change in the world, in your world around you. And you may have someone who's not a core figure in your life, but they are somehow attached to a love energy. And they are bringing in some degree of like not nice energy. I wouldn't say they're nice. And I would say if that's the case, if there's someone who you're dating or someone, then you should probably like leave immediately, let go of the situation and not allow it to have that negative influence. I think it's just like a sign that this person's not the right person for you. 9 of Swords, see? I get this. I get this desire for wanting to change and change not happening fast enough. I have the Queen of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This could actually be you, Gemini, as you want. Change is coming. When Uranus enters Gemini, change is coming, and Mars leaves your 10th house, but it's not yet. And so then we have the Death card, which is Scorpio energy. And then that's the 6th house here. This could be also the Scorpio energy, right? The Queen of Cups. I think it's from the little things for Gemini. I think it's like maybe move. Some of you are going to move. Some things around the house. Shift some locus of control, right? So the things that are under your influence, the things that you have control over, deal with them. Small things. It may not change the outside world, but that outside world is changing. So I see you as much more focused on smaller things, like completing smaller tasks, changing things around that are within your sphere of control at this time, as opposed to making these wild changes in your life. So I know that you want to respond to the last 5 years, 6 years, stress, whatever. But I think I see you really thriving by changing things that are simple, that are near you, removing toxic lover boy here in the 5th house, and sticking to your best friends, sticking to what's true, sticking to the energy that is actually supporting you. And that's here for the long run. Saturn in the 10th house. So the transit's going to be over next year, but in the meantime, focus on the things you can control, the things you can create. I see you fixing little things, changing little things as opposed to big ones. And I think that the 9 of Swords comes from when you look at the outside world and you want it all to change. This is when the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, really applies for you. Okay, so no, focus on the small details, and as these planets start shifting out of their current position, that's when the big things will change. So just focus on making yourself satisfied by changing small things around you and removing this 5 Lilith, 5th house Lilith. This is someone who's hurtful to you, and you need to get them out of your life. Okay, and Lilith is an energy, how do I say this, that influences us, but it also shows us the true nature of people. So, nobody who's good to you will ever show you that kind of cruelty that you may be experiencing now through this person. So Lilith is not going to leave and then they're going to magically go back to being wonderful. They're just not that person. Okay. So the next energy is Sag. Hey, Sag, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at your astrology. We have 2 more. Oh, we're on our last 3. Oh, I started early today, and so that worked out. Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching. Okay. Let me know in the comments how the ads were this time around. Were they intense? Or I'm trying to fix the ads so they're not so intense, because a couple people told me that the ads are intense, Veroosh. I don't know how to control them. I've switched the setting around. Well, let's hope it works. Okay. So Sagittarius, under this beautiful energy. Well, you have Venus in the first. I love Venus in the first house. It's a good time to go a little shopping. It's a wonderful time for you to focus on yourself. You're feeling pretty. You're looking pretty. It's always a fun time to change your hairstyle when Venus is in the first house, because it just looks good, and then you can use it when Venus is not in the first house. So you're likely to find things that look good on you, that compliment you. So yeah, look for clothes, styles, appearance things. Fiddle with that a little bit with Venus in the first house. Since we're talking about Venus, let's look at the Saturn 4th house. Okay, so family not necessarily receptive to your good feelings of energy. Not everyone, but there could be someone with whom you have tension. This tension may have increased since the beginning of 2023. And so there's this energy of a square from Venus. You're happy, Venus in the first house in Sag, and someone around you is negative in your family. So remember, this is the minor energy of what we're looking at, but still don't allow other people's negativity to influence you. Likewise, watch out for fake friends, because Lilith is in the 11th house and it's sextiling Venus. So it could make you feel like you're putting yourself out there. Like, let's say, how do I say this? Let's say you cut and dye your hair and you really love it, and you take it to your friend and they say, this doesn't look good, you have to change it. Don't allow that kind of influence. It's manipulative, it's bad energy. So don't allow someone to discourage you from a positive change you've made. That's the Venus pressure. Regarding the other massive grand trines that are over us and all the other energy, I think your stronger influence is the Earth trine, which is the Vesta moon, right, on the 28th. Pluto in the 2nd house, Uranus in the 7th house, just emerging. I do feel as though you may be taking a risk on somebody else financially. So like the risk is trusting someone, or some kind of circumstance that's in your life prompts you to try to take a chance with someone. So like in business, it would be a situation where you know that on your own running a business would be either too expensive or time consuming. And so you sort of need to buddy up with someone or delegate a job. And it's a bit of a risk, but it won't work any other way. So you're taking a risk. I would say try to make it conservative. You don't want to just like throw it out there, but be a little cautious. Overall, I do think that the energy is shifting for you into a much more social dynamic, where right now it's been like all work and no play. It reminds me of that line from The Shining, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, or something like that, right? So I'm not saying you're The Shining. I'm just saying that like life has become vacuous and maybe not necessarily as fulfilling. For a life balance, we all need to have experience certain qualities to make ourselves feel good, right? So what I'm seeing here in this grand Earth trine, even though it's been successful for you, I think that Sag is one of the really, really social signs, in my opinion. You thrive in connections with others. You love sharing. You love the whole experience of being with other people. And so we've been talking about this with Sag for years now, like couple years, about why is this happening? Like, why is it you're consistently led into circumstances where it's not that social, right? You guys are constantly being like alone and more alone. And I get comments from you guys like, Veroosh, enough is enough. I need to have fun. And so I really want to tell you that I think that this shift is happening now. Neptune entering your 5th house, Uranus, the 7th house, Pluto into your 3rd. It's all shifting into an alignment that is suitable for you. So one of the reasons why I think you've had like a rough couple years, maybe not terrible years, but a rough kind of like the social has been missing. For the experience of success, there's been a lack of energy in the social. So that's coming, and it's coming very quickly. It's going to start with something close to home, like your community, people you grew up with, brothers and sisters, as Pluto moves into the 3rd house. But then we have Lilith here. Be careful, because you're feeling vulnerable now. It's been a few years since you've been as social as you used to be. And so you may be around a person or a couple people who pick up that about you. Remember, like narcissists and people who are bullies, they pick up on the things that hurt us and then they exploit them to try to hurt you, right? So Lilith in the 11th house could be someone who picks up on the fact that like you're more socially isolated now than you normally are, and that, or maybe that you're hurting about social issues, and they could be playing on that. So don't let them, in other words, don't let family put pressure on you. Don't let some like mean-spirited friend say backhanded things. The other thing is that the sun is going through your 12th house, which is that time of, it's not as good of a time as you're going to have. And so when the sun enters Sag, Pluto enters the 3rd house, you're going to have this massive upswing of social dynamics and relationships. So it's coming. You've just been through a longer transit where those kinds of things were not as prominent. And I think that goes strongly against your personality type, right? Which is usually highly social. Even if you're an introvert, even if you're not super outwardly social, you just like having a certain degree of social connections around. So you maybe have been feeling a lack of that. King of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. That moon is going to hit right the end of the 10th house. Look for a pattern with regard to work that started on September 3rd, 4th, and October 1st. And now the 3rd iteration is happening. So did something happen at work? A breakthrough. It could be very potentially good. So work has been very good. Pluto at the end of the 2nd house, and especially if you've been working towards something, there's a great, you're reaching your potential. You're reaching your, like if you've been working towards something and really devoting a lot of time to that, there's going to be a wonderful outcome with regard to that. And then when the moon reaches this position, but even now with Vesta, you might be getting the hint at that something that you had worked towards is going to fruit and blossom. So yeah, socially a little lonely baloney, but in terms of work, this is I think this is the best transit for money and work that I've seen out of all the signs. So positive outcomes from work well earned. Windfall, which is the only time we got the Wheel of Fortune, and King of Pentacles. You're coming into money. There's a payout. Maybe you've just finished a massive project or you're about to, but something's really informed your workspace, money space for a lot of growth. I would say it's the best transit out of anyone. So for that kind of energy. So you have, people ask me in the comments, like, what about love for this sign, Veroosh? And, but this is I'll always tell you guys if one sign in particular has like a really strong energy for a certain type of experience. So for Sag, it's money, success, especially on things that you have been working on for a while. There's like a positive outcome of, and looking back 14 years, because Pluto in the second house, it's a good thing. So look for the opportunities. Don't sweat the fact that you're a little alone. Social things will improve shortly, but in the meantime, enjoy the financial windfall and it's not only financial windfall, but the status that comes from working really hard. Okay. So I see the effort it's almost like you sacrificed your social life a little bit for like, it's not materialist gain. Like, it comes with materialist gain, but it's for work. Like, you've sacrificed, like, you didn't go out so that you could work. So you have put in significant effort, and so now you're reaping the benefits of that effort. Okay, congratulations, Sag. It's a really good reading. So we have Scorpio next. I'm so happy for Saggy. And they're going to get friends. They got everything. It took a little while, but it's coming. Okay, so enjoy. Okay, Scorpio's next. Sun, Moon, and Rising. Happy Scorpio season. If your birthday is right now, happy birthday, you guys. So I think that, let's see. Well, you know what? I would say that Sag had one of the best, and yours is one of the most intense, Scorpio. You're coming to terms. Listen, friends are going to come. Love is going to come. But you have been under a pattern that has a lot to do with very serious history. And so this history has been daunting and has been pulling you into significant realities that you have to confront. It's kind of like it's not even a choice. It is that you are working through very intense energies, very, very high pressure, looking at the crux of an issue. Like, you're being put under a lot of pressure to face certain things. And there's like this Saturn here in the 5th house. So in terms of like that balancing out with like social fluidity or a little romance, I don't think that's happening either. I think that what you're really going through, the South Node going through this area of the chart. I don't have the nodes in this just to make this as simple as possible. But the South Node going through this area is in somewhat connected to this. So the South Node was in Scorpio before it was where it is now in Libra. So I guess 2 years ago, these circumstances would have begun, and they may have confronted you on facing harsh realities about your life. I know that sounds really heavy, and I'm sorry, you guys, but this is the point of greatest liberation, right? This is the point of shedding, while other people are living their lives in a different way. They are still trapped within certain things that they can't get away from. Those things that are trapping you, they're breaking away, and you're breaking through them. It's just a really slow process, Scorpio. And so that transformation is taking place. And in some way, right now, you feel the urge to go somewhere, to do something, to take a risk. And even if it doesn't work out right away, I think that it's very positive for you to do so. This is very much the kind of breakaway moment. It reminds me of the song by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. It's called Runaway. You guys can listen to it. It's kind of a Scorpio song. Yeah Yeah Yeahs in general to me is like Scorpio music, but it is that kind of like, rainy day, walking out into the rain, and despite everything, going after what you desire. And it's a very serious, very somber sort of energy. I'm sorry, Scorpio, I know it's your birthday, but you're staying very true to you and you're being defiant. And through that defiance, you're going to get what you want. It's going to be a process, though, and you're not getting it right now. You're getting it in a little bit. The moon will transit through this position. I do think that friends are coming your way, and I do think that friends will show up. So established friends in your life are showing up to show you who they are. So you're not alone, but there is this Lilith playing on that. You're taking a risk, right? You're confronting the status quo so that you can have the life quality you want. Lilith is aware of that in the 12th house, and she's preying on it. So you're seeking liberation, and there's someone or a situation who's, when we seek liberation or we challenge the status quo, we're taking a risk, right? We're risking something. And so there's like a predatory energy here where it's almost like, you're walking on a balance beam and somebody sees the opportunity to try to push you over because you're in a more vulnerable position. That's what it looks like. But I don't think ultimately, remember, Lilith is a transient, temporary energy that ultimately doesn't affect anything as much as a planet does. And so I think part of the lesson of Pluto on your IC is, despite what happens temporarily, like in a few days or even a few months, it's Pluto on the IC is like you going after something for an incredibly long time. It's a slow, methodical pushing. No matter what happens around you, you're going to get there. And even if there are temporary setbacks, even if there's like little interjections or somebody throwing, chaos or disorder at you, it can't stop that path that you're on. And so once again, as Pluto crosses your IC on November 19th, it's that like great force. You cannot, like, it's almost like a landslide, right? You cannot stop the force of a landslide, earth moving. It just, you can't get out of its way. And so that's the energy that you're under. So it's bittersweet because I do want you to have like a romance and all these things. And I think you will get them. But I think that right now, your force, the power of this IC, this is the most important transit in your chart right now, Pluto on the IC. And so that force overpowers, I'm trying to find the right word, sorry. It overpowers the need for romance, the need for other things. And it's not a distinct goal. It's an accumulation of goals. I thought Pisces was weird. This is weird. And I'm sorry, you guys, but I hope it's speaking to someone. The little temporary things are not going to get in your way. You should take the risk that your heart is telling you to take. There will be friends who rise up out of the darkness, sorry to be dramatic, to show you the way, and you're very true to you. But think of it as you are the massive steamroller who's moving ahead to the destination that you are meant to go. And I think the life lesson in all this is that no matter what temporary situation, lack of love, resistor in your environment, nothing can stop the ultimate path of your destiny, or the destiny that you carve out for yourself. Okay, it's really teaching you that you're going to get there despite what anybody says. Very powerful Scorpio message, because Scorpio rules the 8th house. It's like overcoming the death and rebirth cycle, like the destiny overcomes death and rebirth. Very poetic. Very poetic. I like it. Okay, so let's see the cards. So I hope this is a good message. It's like nothing can stop you, in other words. 4 of Swords, rest. Again, there's also this energy. Okay, so Neptune's going to enter your 6th house, which kind of leads to like a fast pace. Rest. So the other point of this is that still work, still do the things you need to do, but you are allowed to rest. I think that's what this is saying. It's like sometimes people burn themselves out thinking that it's not going to happen, and then they don't take care of themselves, and so this is and then but this is like rest. It's like it is going to happen. You can rest, right? If you wholeheartedly and genuinely put the effort in. Yeah, I think Saturn is really harsh on you in this position now. You have financial opportunities that come at the cost of romance. So if you are in a relationship, it may be so much that you can't be with your romantic love interest at this time while you pursue financial goals. And then you can feel like, oh, I sense that there's this feeling of longing for something. Like something's not quite working out, something is not like you're not getting everything you want, or there's just a frustration with certain things, but in light of getting what you want. And I do think that you should like reach for the things you want. And in trying so, I do think that friends are going to step up. Look for friends who have stepped up September 3rd or 4th, October 1st, and October 28th. On October 28th is the final kite onto this position. And so that those relationships may become cemented or more pronounced. Here is the next message. We have the 6 of Swords. Rest, moving on, going towards something that you want. I think that like dissatisfaction leads you to move. This could be the sign that some of you who are in a relationship, you're letting that relationship go and searching for a bigger outcome. Like the relationship has failed to meet your expectations. The relationship fell flat while you seek out for more. So this is an energy of sort of like walking forward or walking away, not getting emotionally what you want, and trying to test the waters, test a new direction to try to get more. And I think that you should. Ultimate path. Maybe this has to do with doubt, this Pluto message, that like the ultimate path of your destiny is unwavering. So you don't have to worry about making certain decisions in light of where you will go, right? So yeah, you will achieve the things you want. And then the last but not least is Cancer, which is a little celebration because we all know Cancer has had an intense transit of Pluto in Capricorn for 15 years. So how are you guys feeling? Let me know in the comments. So what is it? Well, it's just under 30 days. So it's just less than a month before Pluto leaves forever. It's likely with Mars in your first house that you have that whole like anti-establishment energy of Pluto versus Mars. You are defiant in the face of the establishment here with Mars in the first house. So you're telling them to go home. You're like, no, no more of this. You're putting your foot down in situations. You're applying all your learning from the last 14 years on how to deal with like power dynamics that are not what you want. You're being very intense here, Cancer. Depending on some of you have worked through this energy completely. Some of you still have like one last confrontation, but it's not a confrontation with that person or situation. It's a confirmation within yourself that if a situation like that arises again, you are going to make that decision for you. It's a self-determined sort of path that you're on. It's good. The Pluto, Uranus, and the Moon, or Vesta, are creating this grand Earth trine, and Neptune is informing it from, I think you see outside of your little box here, Cancer. I think that, and I'm not picking on anyone, I'm not saying that like in a patronizing way, but Neptune is showing you the world, and through this grand Earth trine, the moon transit, I think that you challenge your immediate environment to try to create a space in which you can branch out into the world, go in different places, see different things, like try a different path. I think that there's messages coming to you from the world that are giving you other options, and I think you're seeing those other options, other possibilities. I think romance is still possible for you over the next month. The Sun and Mercury are in your 5th house. Venus was just in your 5th house. It's already under the way. Look for the new moon in Scorpio. I think that's on November 3rd, right? I think that if you are wondering about love, what happens around there could be very telling. I do think that overall, this is about like stepping into your desires. So you're one of the signs that desire is really activated here. This means that aspirational, inspirational decisions, going for things in a creative sense, like breaking down barriers, going after what you want. These are the themes that are guiding your current experience. Very unique friends might be influential. And in some ways, these dynamics with partners and all the people that you've dealt with over the last 14 years who are overbearing, who are super intense, they have rubbed off on you, and they have taught you to be a little overbearing, a little bit intense, a little bit more demanding of your world. And now you can employ that energy to be successful. And by success, I mean get what you want, right? So this is Cancer trying to get what they want, or stepping into the world and saying, this is what I want. And I think that a little bit of leadership from you allows other people to come your way, including like unexpected friendships out of nowhere. Like when you step into your truth and you say, I want, then someone else is hearing that and they're like, yeah, I want that too. So you might have a friend that comes out of that energy. Okay, so you have the Hierophant, lived experiences, right? Hierophant is, I've seen, I've learned, I've conquered, I'm here to tell you about it. Then we have the Five of Cups. There's sentimentality, there's, I wish it was different. I wish it was a different, like there's a little bit of limerence there, a little bit of like forgetting the, look at this. The last card we picked is the Tower. I just feel as though, I feel like you're ready to confront in a situation. Most Cancers have finished those situations because it's literally under 30 days, right? The Pluto. But for any of you who have not had that final confrontation, it's coming now. And if it's coming now, it's going to be intense because it's right on your IC. So issues to do with like you not receiving, like somebody not honoring you standing in your truth, and you feeling outpowered or outnumbered to do that. There's just like a stay. If anybody's messing with a Cancer, stay out of their way. You know how they say on online, they're like the villain era, or like this sign's gonna be rabid, or this sign's gonna be unhinged. Cancers who are in this energy, who haven't finished that Pluto cycle, stay out of their way. They're just coming through like a wrecking ball. That's the lyrics of the song. So I think you're gonna just mow things down, and I don't think you have patience. I feel like you have like priority things that you need to achieve. Okay, so we got a new member. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. I do have a short video on the homepage about the Mystic Rectangle, because I've mentioned it a few times. So maybe if you want to know more about it, check that out. And thank you for watching. Tell me in the comments what you are going to be doing leading up to Monday. Monday's D-Day. And also tell me in the comments, like, when I look at all these transits, I'm like, wow, this is quite the combination. So let me know what you think of the combination of aspect patterns that are over us. And yes, this is available for everyone. So just to remind you guys, I was doing members only content for a few weeks to catch up any over delayed work. But yeah, most of my content is free to watch. Also, if I do members content, a lot of the key important things that I tell members, I put on Instagram, so you can follow me there for more free content if that's what you need. Okay? Thank you guys for watching. I don't care if you're a member, not member, subscriber. Thank you guys for all your help and support through the years. For me, this has been like the process of my job that I've been doing, my social job, my little tarot astrology business. So to me, it's very significant as it's expressed my own experiences, and I've shared so much with you guys, and you guys have been so supportive. So for me, this is like very, very significant, as I'm sure it is for all of you guys, but I just want to say thanks. I think you guys are great. And those of you who come through for me, even when my energy's down or something's not kosher, you guys are great. And I appreciate every one of you. Thank you for watching. I'm not going away. I'm just saying thanks. Okay. So enjoy this weekend and have a good time. Take care. Bye.